Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be giving my NBA DraftKings picks for Friday, November 3rd. Got a huge slate today on this Friday, a big slate, 12-game slate. So I'm not going to waste any time. Let's go ahead and get started today looking at point guard. Alright, so at point guard today, we got three studs here, three guys over 11K, Harden, Westbrook, and Giannis. One thing to note here, one thing I'm seeing that stands out to me, Giannis has seen a huge price decrease. We saw last game, I believe he was 12K, might have been a little bit over 12K. So definitely getting Giannis at a discount here. Yeah, he was 12K against Charlotte in his last game. Today he's only 11-2 going up against Detroit. So that's just one thing I did see, that big discount on Giannis. I think with that discount, that definitely makes him a viable option here. Obviously, Giannis is pretty much matchup proof. I don't think there's really anybody on Detroit defensively that can stop him. Maybe they put Avery Bradley on him or Tobias Harris, but Giannis, like I said, he's matchup proof, so if you want to pay up for him, he's fine. Russell Westbrook, I don't think I'm going to be on Westbrook here. Boston has a lot of good defenders that can defend him. Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, two guys that can really defend well. So I think I'd shy away from Westbrook. If you're going to pay up for a point guard today, I'd either go Giannis or Harden. Harden gets to face the Hawks, and the Hawks have been pretty bad defensively against point guards this year. So if I had to rank these top three guys, I'd probably go Giannis, Harden, Westbrook. But it's definitely close between Giannis and Harden. I definitely like both of them today. But I won't be plugging them into the core because there is another stud that I like at another position that we'll get onto later. But yeah, looking at some other point guards that we can target. John Wall at 9,700 against Cleveland. I guess that's a good matchup for John Wall. Cleveland not very good defensively against the point guard. Cleveland just hasn't really been that good defensively all year. They've just really struggled this year. So I think John Wall's fine, but this price tag is pretty high for him at 9,700. I think if I'm going to pay that much, I'd just rather get up to Harden or Giannis, or I'd just go cheap. There are some guys in this 7K range that I really like today. So for that reason, I don't think I'm going to be on Wall here. He hasn't really been performing well for his salary either. At 9,700, I'd say you need almost 50 DraftKings points, just about 50 DK points, and he hasn't really been doing that lately. This could definitely be a game where John Wall just goes nuts. It's a game against a good rival, Cleveland. Two very good Eastern Conference teams. You know, John Wall gets up for these games. But at 9,700, I think there are just other guys I'd rather have that are a little bit more, or just pay down to some of these guys in the 7K range that I really like. So for that reason, I'm going to shy away from Wall today. I'm looking at some of these guys in the 7K range that I like. First off, D'Angelo Russell, 7,900. Russell gets a revenge game today, going back to LA to face the Lakers, the team he played for last year. So if you like the revenge game narrative, definitely can consider D'Angelo Russell. It is a great matchup. I'd imagine he's going to see defense from Lonzo Ball. Ball has not been a good defender this year. And in a revenge game, you know Russell's going to chuck. He already takes a ton of shots to begin with, but in a revenge game, you could see him take 20-plus shots here. So definitely like D'Angelo Russell today. If you're looking in that 7K range at point guard, there are a lot of good options here. So I don't mind if you want to make a balanced lineup today. I think that's very viable just because all these guys in the 7K, 6K range. Definitely makes making a balanced lineup a valuable thing to do today. So if you are going that route, consider D'Angelo Russell at 7,900 in a revenge game. On the other side of that game, Lonzo Ball at 7,300. Definitely like Lonzo Ball today. We've seen Lonzo definitely perform well when he gets good matchups. We saw him really struggle against the Clippers to begin the year when he had to deal with Patrick Beverley. But then when he got to face the Suns, I believe he put up like 50 DK points in that game. So when Lonzo gets the right matchup, he definitely can provide upside. We saw it, like I said, against Phoenix. He put up 59 DK points, nearly had a triple-double. I believe he was one rebound shy of a triple-double in that game. Or no, one assist shy of a triple-double. This is a great matchup against the Nets. Just a bad defensive team against guards. So if you're looking at that 7K range today, definitely consider Lonzo Ball at 7,300. But there is one guy here that I just absolutely love over all of them in the 7K range, 7,100. Going to plug him into the 5 today. Dennis Schroeder at 7,100, going up against Houston. Just think this price tag is a little bit too cheap on Dennis Schroeder, especially given the matchup against Houston, a team that has really struggled against point guards this year. Just don't have any good defenders that can defend guards. Now that Chris Paul is injured, they're going to really struggle against point guards. So I love this spot for Dennis Schroeder. The guy's just been so solid this year. If you look at his game log, 44, 36, 37, 35, 41, and 36 DK points. His lowest game this year was 35.75 and is yet to put anything under that. So we get a really high floor from Dennis Schroeder. We know he has the upside as well. Can get you 40 plus. I think 5x is pretty much guaranteed here. definitely has the opportunity to get 6x. So I love Dennis Schroeder today. Think he's too cheap. The matchup's great. So I'm going to be plugging him in at 7,100. They're looking for some cheaper point guards that we can target. Maybe some value plays if we need some value here. There are a couple guys in this 5K, 4K range that I think we can target for value. Mike James at 5K going up against the Knicks. Great matchup for Mike James. He has been starting for the Suns, has been playing pretty well, did have a really, really nice game against Brooklyn. And we're starting to see his minutes be a lot more consistent. He's played 29 minutes in both of his last 2 games, has put up 44 and 23 DraftKings points. You're pretty much locked in for about 25 minutes, I'd say. That's about his floor right now. He definitely has the upside to get to 30 minutes if he's playing well. And in a matchup against the Knicks, a bad defensive team, definitely like Mike James as a potential value play we can target today. At 5K. But another core play is going to come from point guard today. 4,800 value play here. Jarrett Jack going up against the Suns. Just love Jarrett Jack today as a value play. Was on him his last game out against the Rockets as value and definitely did not work out. I believe he only had like 8 DraftKings points. Just didn't really do much in that game. But I'm going to be hopping back on the well here. It's a great matchup against the Suns, who are terrible against point guards. And Jarrett Jack is still going to be starting for the Knicks. He should still see plenty of minutes. He only played 20 minutes against the Rockets, but that game was a blowout, so didn't get as many minutes as he should have. If this game can stay close, which I definitely think it will, Jack should see over 30 minutes and should definitely be able to pay off that $4,800 price tag. So he is a value play I like today. Just think he's a little bit too cheap for the minutes he's playing, especially given this matchup against the Suns. Like Jarrett Jack today as a value play we can target at point guard for $4,800. And then looking for some cheaper point guards that we can target. It seems like I mention this guy every day, but JJ Barea just continues to produce, and his price never rises. He always is in this 4K range, this low 4K range. So I think he's a fine value play today. Did get off to a really bad game against the Clippers. Had pretty much his worst game of the year. He only put up 9 DK points in that game. But that game was also a blowout, and Barea only played 19 minutes. We usually see his minutes get up into the mid-20s, sometimes high 20s. So I like JJ Barea today. If you need another point guard value play, I think he's fine at 4,300. Definitely a guy I will be considering. And yeah, I think that might be it for value today, guys. Jordan Clarkson at 4K. I think Jordan Clarkson going up against Brooklyn, definitely a value play you can consider here. The potential for 6x value is totally here at just 4K. Just 24 DK points. Should be pretty easy for Clarkson to hit that against Brooklyn. So I like him at 4K, and I think that might be it for point guard. There's some guys I like for value. So yeah, guys, let's go ahead and move on to shooting guard. Alright, so at shooting guard, some guys that catch my eye here. In the 7K range, Devin Booker at 7,600 going up against the Knicks. I think if you're looking in the 7K range at shooting guard today, Devin Booker definitely an option at 7,600. It is a great matchup against the Knicks. They're a bad defensive team. And Booker's going to be playing in the Garden today, where we know stars like to rise. They like to step up and play well in the Garden. So I think if you want to target Devin Booker here, I think he's definitely a valuable option today. 7,600 at shooting guard. And they're looking for some other shooting guards we can target. DeMar DeRozan seems too cheap today at 7,100, but it is a pretty tough matchup against Utah, a really good defensive team. But with that price tag, I think DeRozan definitely could get 5-6x value at just 7,100. 35, 40 DK points, I think is a pretty reasonable projection for him. So if you want to target him, I think he's a fine play, 7,100. And then looking in the 6K, 5K range, maybe some value plays we can target a shooting guard. Evan Fournier, 6,900. I think Fournier, if you're looking in this upper tier in the 6K range, I think Fournier definitely in play. Going up against the Bulls, just an overall bad defensive team. And Fournier been really consistent this year. In his last 4 games, or in his last 5 games, he's had 48, 36, 36, 31, and 39 DraftKings points. Just been really consistent. Has hit 5x value in 4 of his last 5 games. So I think Evan Fournier, if this game can stay close, he can definitely provide you upside at just 6,900 going up against the Bulls. And let's see if we can find some value plays at shooting guard today. I think Justin Holiday is still a little bit too cheap for how many minutes this guy plays. He hasn't really been breaking out lately. He's just sort of been just mediocre. In his last 4 games, he's put up 37, 27, 21, and 22 DraftKings points. But if you just look in the game log, the minutes, 37, 37, 32, and 38 minutes in his last 4 games. If this game stays close, Holiday could see close to 40 minutes again. You give me a guy playing nearly 40 minutes at 5,800 going up against the Magic, who are playing at a pretty fast pace this year. Definitely like Justin Holiday. If you're looking sort of a mid-tier, cheaper play at shooting guard, I think he's in play at 5,800. And looking for some maybe guys 5K and under, some really cheap value plays we can target. Kent Bazemore, 5,300. I think Kent Bazemore, definitely a fine value play today going up against the Rockets, a team that we know plays at a very fast pace, not the best defensive team. And Bazemore is another guy that's just been really consistent as of late. Just looking at his last 5 games, 35, 33, 25, 29, and 24 DK points. It's been really solid. For him to get 5x value, you're only going to need like 25 DK points, which will definitely get you there in cash games. And for tournaments, he has the potential to get 7x, get you 35 DK points. He's done it before. So I like Kent Bazemore. If you're looking for a cheaper, sort of mid-tierish value play at shooting guard, definitely consider him at 5,300. And then looking for some guys we can target sub 5K. There's not a ton that I'm absolutely in love with here. I think Kentavious Caldwell-Pope at 5,100. I believe I passed him. Yeah. KCP, 5,100. I think he's a fine value play. He's going up against Brooklyn. We know Brooklyn, a very bad defensive team, and they play at a very fast pace. So I think KCP, if you want to go cheap at shooting guard, I think he's in play at 5,100. And then looking for guys sub 5K that we can target. Not a ton I really see here that I'm just really liking, that's really catching my eye. JJ Barea is listed here. I mentioned him earlier. I think he's fine at 4,300. I think that might be it for shooting guard guys. Just not a ton of value plays like sub 5K that I'm really seeing here. There are guys that I mentioned earlier that are eligible here, like Jordan Clarkson. Barea is eligible here, but not a ton of guys I'm seeing sub 4K that we can target. Somebody would have to get injured in order for those guys to be in play. So yeah, I think that might be it for shooting guard guys. Let's go ahead and move on to small forward. Alright, so at small forward today, there is a stud play here that I'm absolutely in love with. As of now, looking early into the slate, really catches my eye today. And that's LeBron James at 10-6, going up against Washington. The Wizards, they have been one of the worst teams this year against small forwards. TJ Warren, I believe, on Wednesday, he put up like 40, 50 DK points on them. Pretty much all year, the Wizards have been getting torched by small forwards. So this is just a great spot for LeBron James. We know he has the floor for cash games. LeBron's always a great cash game option. For tournaments, he has the potential to get you a triple-double, get you 70 DraftKings points. We saw it against Brooklyn. And if this game can stay close, hopefully it can. It is kind of a rivalry against Washington. Two really good teams in the East. Hopefully LeBron will get up for this game, play well. Because if it stays close, LeBron could just totally smash in this game. So absolutely love him here at 10,600. Like I said, the Wizards just have been terrible against small forwards this year. Just a great spot for LeBron. So I'm plugging him in today at 10-6. And looking for some other small forwards that we can target in the mid-tier and in the cheaper end at small forward. If you're looking in the 7K range, Aaron Gordon at 7,300 going up against the Bulls. Definitely a good spot today for Aaron Gordon. We know the Bulls, they're just bad defensively. Aaron Gordon, pretty much the number one guy in Orlando. He's the guy they go to when they need scoring. He can grab you rebounds as well. We know this guy has a ton of upside. We saw it in one game this year, which was against Brooklyn. He put up 65 DK points. So for tournaments, Aaron Gordon definitely in play today at 7,300. He has the upside to win you a tournament. So if you don't want to pay up the small forward, you're looking at that 7K range. Definitely consider Aaron Gordon today in that 7K range. And looking for some guys in the 6K, 5K range, some mid-tier plays we can target. There aren't a ton of guys here that are just absolutely in love with. I think Brandon Ingram's a fine play at 6,100. But that does seem like a lot to pay for Brandon Ingram. It's a great matchup against Brooklyn, but 6,100 does seem like a lot to pay for Brandon Ingram. You're going to need at least 30 DK points for him to hit value. So for that reason, I'd probably stay off of him, but maybe on FanDuel. I'm not sure what his FanDuel price is, but if Brandon Ingram's cheap on FanDuel, definitely consider him against Brooklyn. Then looking for some value plays we can target at small forward. Not a ton here that I'm just absolutely in love with, like I said. I think Larry Nance is definitely in play at 5,700. Love this Brooklyn Lakers game. I know I've mentioned a lot of players from this game. But we just got two teams that are bad defensively, two teams that like to play at a very fast pace. So this game should be very, very high scoring. You're going to want to get some exposure to it. And there are guys from this game like Larry Nance that are pretty cheap, can get you some cheap exposure. At just 5,700, Nance only needs to get you about 30 DK points to hit value, which he could definitely do against the Nets. So I think if you need a cheaper mid-tier play at small forward, I think you can target Larry Nance at 5,700. And then for 100 less, TJ Warren coming off his great game. I think he's in another good spot today against the Knicks at 5,600. We saw the kind of upside TJ Warren has. He put up a monster game against the Wizards the other day. He put up 61 DK points in that game. Just had a great game, 40 real-life points, 10 rebounds, got you a double-double. Also contributed with a steal and a block and an assist. So we saw the upside Warren has. He's in another great matchup here against the Knicks, who are a bad defensive team. So I think if you want to go back to that mid-tier at small forward, definitely consider TJ Warren today at 5,600. Now looking for some guys we can target maybe 5K and under, some cheap value plays. Kent Bazemore at 5,300. I already mentioned him, but if you want to play him at small forward, he's in play. But yeah, looking at this sub 5K range, some value plays. There's not a ton that I'm just absolutely in love with. Another position where I don't see a ton of value. There are guys here that I've mentioned earlier, but not a ton of guys here that really catch my eye. For these guys to really be, or for these guys to be valuable options, somebody would have to get hurt. Somebody would have to get injured. They'd have to move into the starting lineup or see some increased minutes. So yeah, not a ton of value plays I'm seeing at small forward today. As of now, let's go ahead and move on to power forward. All right, so up top at power forward, we got the Twin Towers. Boogie and AD, 11-5 and 11-2 going up against the Mavericks. As of now, I'm not going to have any exposure to Boogie. They're just other studs. Or I'm not going to have any exposure to either of these guys. They're just other studs I'd rather roster. And it's going to be a slow-paced game. They're going up against Dallas, a team that plays at a really slow pace. And these guys are pretty expensive at 11-2 and 11-5. I know they've been playing really well lately, but they're just guys I'd rather have, like LeBron. I'd rather have Giannis. I'd rather have Harden. So for that reason, I think I'm gonna be off these two guys up top. At 8,800, Kristaps Porzingis. Right now, it says he is questionable going up against the Suns. Right now, I'm expecting Porzingis to play, but if he doesn't play, obviously you got to get a big upgrade to a lot of those Knicks guys. Enes Kanter gets a big upgrade. Hardaway gets a big upgrade. Jack's gonna have to take more shots. So a lot of people are gonna get upgrades if Porzingis doesn't play. But from what I'm seeing, it looks like he's gonna play here. And if he does play, obviously a great matchup against the Suns, who are just not a good defensive team, and they play at a very fast pace. So I think if you don't want to pay up to the top at power forward today, you got the salary in this 8K range. Definitely, Kristaps Porzingis definitely a good play at 8,800. Looking in this mid-tier, cheaper end at power forward, some guys we can target. I think Paul Millsap at 6,700 going up against the Heat's in a really good spot here. Millsap has been playing a lot better as of late. In his last 4 games, he's been a lot more consistent. 30, 41, 33, and 35 DraftKings points in his last 4 games. We saw before those games, Millsap was really inconsistent, only 14, 26, 26 DK points. But right now, he's been playing really well, been shooting the ball well. And it's a good matchup against the Heat, who do just struggle defensively against power forwards. So I like Paul Millsap. If you're looking at that 6K range at power forward today, definitely consider him at 6,700. Looking for some guys in this, some more guys in the 6K range. A lot of guys here that I really like, but their prices are just increasing a ton. Like Markkanen, his prices increased a ton. Sabonis, his prices increased up to 6,300. I like these guys, but they're starting to get to where I don't know if you want to roster them when they're this expensive. But Markkanen and Sabonis have both been playing really well, and they're in good spots. So if you want to target them, I think they're fine plays at 6,300 and 6,400. And then maybe looking for some value plays that we can target. Like I said, if Porzingis sits, obviously Enes Kanter is in a really good spot at 5,800. Probably won't be playing Kanter if Porzingis plays, but if Porzingis is out, Enes Kanter might become one of the best plays on the board at 5,800. So definitely keep an eye out for him if Porzingis is out. But right now I am expecting him to play, so not too concerned. But yeah, looking for some value plays we can target at power forward. There aren't a ton of cheap plays I see, like 5K, 4K. I think Ryan Anderson at 4,900. Ryan Anderson does have some pretty drastic home and road splits. He does play a lot better on the road, does shoot better on the road. We've seen that this year. He put up 37 on the road against Memphis, 37 on the road against Charlotte, put up 25 on the road against New York. And when he was at home against the Sixers, he only put up 15 DK points. So Anderson has always played better on the road through this year and just throughout his career. So I think he's definitely in play for value at 4,900. You're going to have to rely on his scoring. He's not going to provide you a ton of fantasy points, rebounding and stealing or whatever, and getting assists. So it's all about if Anderson's making his shots or not. That's how he's going to rack up the fantasy points for you. This guy's a really good shooter. If he's making his threes, he can definitely provide you a ton of upside. So I think for tournaments, Ryan Anderson, 4,900, definitely a play for value. And I think that might be it for power forward. Just a lot of guys here that definitely can target for tournaments, like Julius Randle, 4,700. We know Randle's minutes are really inconsistent, but this guy has a ton of upside. He's going up against the Nets. I think Julius Randle for tournaments, definitely in play for value. 4,700. Wouldn't target him in cash, though. He's just too inconsistent. But yeah, I think that might be it for power forward guys. Not a ton of guys here I'm seeing like in this 4K range that are very valuable options. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to center. Alright, so at center, some plays I'm going to be looking to target here. Joel Embiid at 8,300. Joel Embiid still playing on the minutes restriction, but it doesn't really matter for this guy. If you're just looking at his last 4 games, even playing under 30 minutes, he's put up 38, 38, 45, and 58 DraftKings points. He's getting a great matchup today against the Pacers. I believe Miles Turner is going to be out for this game again, so Sabonis is going to be starting at center. Sabonis isn't really going to have a chance against Joel Embiid. Embiid should be able to dominate the boards. He can block, he can steal, he can grab you rebounds. Like I said, he can dish out assists, he can shoot threes. Dude can pretty much do it all. He's a stud. If Embiid didn't have a minutes restriction, he'd probably be 10K or above. He'd be one of the top fantasy plays every night. But this minutes restriction obviously puts a hold on him. But even when he's only seeing like 30 minutes, the dude's still putting up monster games, put up 58 DK points in only 30 minutes against the Hawks. So he has that kind of upside. Definitely wouldn't target him in cash, but for tournaments, the upside's there. So at 8,300, I think Joel Embiid definitely in play for tournaments. 7K and 6K range, some guys we can target at center. I think Hassan Whiteside, way too cheap today at 7,600, going up against Denver. Whiteside, this guy's so solid. He's only played 2 games this year, but in his 2 games, he's put up 58, 36 DraftKings points, has a double-double in both of those games. The guy's pretty much a walking double-double. And like I said, I think he's just a little bit too cheap at 7,600. He has so much upside, so much potential to just outperform that salary by a ton. Could definitely get 6x, 7x value in this spot. So if you're looking at that 7K range, definitely think Hassan Whiteside's too cheap today. Should be on your radar at 7,600. Now looking for some centers in the maybe in the 6K range. One more guy in that 7K range, Dwight Howard, going up against the Spurs. We know the Spurs not as good defensively against bigs as they are against other positions. Pau Gasol really not the best defender. So Dwight Howard definitely in play today at 7K. Did see a nice price decrease, went down from 7,500 to 7K. And like Hassan Whiteside, Dwight Howard's pretty much a walking double-double. So I think he's in play today at center at 7K. But looking in the 6K range, I have a core play here at 6K exactly. Steven Adams going up against Boston. I just love Steven Adams today. I think the guy's too cheap. I've been on this guy a ton this year. His price never increases, and he just continues to hit value, continues to get the job done. In his last 4 games, he's put up 40, 32, 28, and 33 DraftKings points. He's hit 5x value in nearly every single game in his last 4 games. Nearly every single game, just about all year except against Utah. That game against Utah was about the only game that Adams didn't hit value. And today he's in a really good matchup against Boston, against Al Horford, who's a really bad rebounder. Steven Adams should totally be able to dominate the boards in this matchup. So I love him today at center, looking in that 6K range. Definitely a guy I'm going to be targeting. Just think he's a little bit too cheap. Looking sub 6K, maybe some value plays we can target at center. Brook Lopez in a revenge game going up against Brooklyn. I think Brook Lopez in play for tournaments only. We know he's really inconsistent, kind of like Julius Randle. His minutes are inconsistent. But when he gets the minutes, the guy can definitely produce for you. He can shoot threes. He will grab rebounds, even though he's not the best rebounder. He'll still get you a couple. Can dish out some assists as well. He can shoot the 3, like I said. And it's a great matchup against Brooklyn, against his former team. Revenge game for Lopez. I think he's a fine play at 5,900. But looking maybe for some options 5K and under, some cheap guys we can target at center. I do have another core play here at 4,500. John Henson going up against Detroit. I think John Henson might be a little bit too cheap today. Like him for value at just 4,500. It is a good spot for John Henson. They're going to need him to play a lot of minutes. He's going to have to be out there to go up against Andre Drummond. We saw that in their last game against Charlotte. Henson started for that game instead of Thon Maker because they really need Henson's size when he's going up against other bigs. Against Charlotte, he had to play 29 minutes to go up against Dwight Howard, and he put up 27 DK points in that game. I think he's going to have to see nearly 30 minutes again in this matchup to have to bang with Andre Drummond. So I really like John Henson today. As a value play, we can target at 4,500. I think he's definitely going to be able to get us at least 5-6x value. Just think this price tag's too cheap. I think he's going to have to play a lot. Because the Pistons have Andre Drummond, they're going to need Henson out there as much as they can get him out there. So I like Henson as a value play today at center. for 4,500. And yeah, I think that might be it for center guys. There are guys here that I've talked about earlier, but I'm not going to just repeat them. So yeah, I think that's it for center. I think that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you drop a like on the video. Be sure to subscribe if you are new. If this is your first time watching a video on my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to click the little bell icon next to the subscribe button, and that way you'll never miss out on any of my new videos. That will notify you every time I upload. So be sure to do that as well, guys. Would really appreciate it. But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Good luck tonight, guys. Peace.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, she shaking fast. Yeah, she dropping slow. Huh? What? Yeah, neck on fro. Whoa, 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 whoa.